Governor Lamont is in charge of the state's response to the coronavirus, but how involved are legislative leaders? With us now is one of those leaders, the minority leader of the House, Themis Klarides. And thank you for joining us, Representative Klarides.
Good morning.
We're going to get to your big news in just a moment, but first I want to ask you a little bit about coronavirus. How involved are you and the other leaders in terms of crafting policy with Governor Lamont?
Well, the leaders talk on a daily basis individually, and we talk several times a week as a group. We have a weekly call usually with the governor's office, and we've had a lot of input on the executive orders. But clearly, it's the governor's prerogative at the end of the day what he wants them to look like. The new organization he set up, we were not part of it at first, and we made it very clear to him that we believed the legislature, which represents every person in the state of Connecticut almost, has a lot of input and a lot of knowledge and a lot of value. So we are now talking with that group once a week.
What are some of your constituents saying to you about the state's management of coronavirus?
You know, you have everything across the spectrum of saying that we need to continue doing the stay-at-home orders to why can't we open business sooner? And I think the answer is very simple. We have healthcare experts in this state that are very knowledgeable. We have to certainly put health and safety first and foremost, and not be able to open before they say it's okay. But I think it's just as important to make sure that the governor and this group that he's put together has a plan for when that time comes. And what you need to do as a leader is give people hope when you're moving forward, not just say continuing to move the line down the road. Again, health and safety first and foremost. But we need to know what that plan is, and that plan needs to come out sooner than later.
Do you think the governor's been doing a good job so far?
I think this is a case of first impression for all of us. He's been in for a year and a half. You know, a lot of us have been in for many years. None of us have ever approached anything like this. I think there's certainly many things he's done well. I think there's other things that need improvement, but that's how you approach a case of first impression, right?
As you look through your district, I know that there's been a lot of talk nationally that perhaps more products should be made in the United States rather than China. This is why we're in, the situation that we're in, because many of the medicines were made overseas. As you look across your district at the companies there, do you see any opportunities that perhaps these companies could make some items that would be needed in the future?
Well, I would hope that our companies are thinking that exact thought right now. I don't think you can paint with a broad brush about these kind of things, but I think more reliance on domestic items is always the goal. And I think the companies that we have, the great companies that are doing all that research and development on a lot of things in this country, should be focusing more on this country. Yes, I do.
So I want to talk about your big news this week, and that is that you announced that you will not be seeking reelection. You're sort of a fixture at the Capitol, one of the most powerful Republicans in the state, one of the most recognizable politicians in Connecticut. What made you decide that you didn't want to do it anymore?
It was a very difficult decision, Dennis. I will tell you, it's been a very emotional week for me. We like to say in the House Republican caucus that we're not colleagues, we are a family. And this has been my second family for 22 years. But at a certain point, there's a time to move on and figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. And I'm trying to think about that now. I'll be getting married soon, so that will be very exciting. But, professionally, that has nothing to do with what I'd like to do. I'm going to really look into some other things, but I will tell you that my time in public service is not over.
Your fiance, Gregg Butler, great guy. We've had him on this program a few times, and he was also mentioned as a possible gubernatorial candidate back in 2018, as were you. Are you considering at all a run for governor in 2022?
Well, certainly, the election after this November, which I will not be running in, will be 2022, and there'll be lots of people on that ballot, from governor to Congress, et cetera. I don't know anything for sure right now, but I do know that my time in public service isn't over, and I know that my love for Connecticut and my passion for doing what's best for the people of the state of Connecticut has not waned, so stay tuned.
Of all the potential jobs out there you could run for, what do you think you're best suited for?
You're going to keep asking the questions, right, Dennis? Listen, I will say this, that I have an open mind with all of this, but clearly my mind is state of Connecticut focused. And so I'll be looking in that direction.
Had you decided to run for governor in 2018 and become the Republican nominee and run against Ned Lamont, do you think you would have won in an election that Bob Stefanowski lost?
Those are questions none of us can answer. I mean, I don't care how smart you are. I don't care what numbers you've looked at. Every candidate has their own strengths and weaknesses. I like to think I certainly would have run a great race. What the result would have been, I don't think any of us know the answer to that.
What about a potential run for Congress? Does that interest you at all?
Like I said, my time in public service isn't over, so I'm open-minded to all possibilities, but my focus is certainly on the state of Connecticut.
Well, we know 2021 is going to be a big year for decision-making next year. And, of course, your marriage coming up to Gregg Butler. We wish you the best of luck. And we'll have you on here again.
Thank you. Thanks, Dennis.
Themis Klarides, thank you. In a moment, the demonstrators who are demanding the state reopen now. And we welcome your comments on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter right now.